Hello everyone, my name is Nathan Young and I'm a Sentinel North postdoctoral research fellow working with Jean-Michel Lemieux in the Department of Geology and Geological Engineering at Laval University. Today I'm going to be presenting the results of the research my group has been working on near the village of Umiujaq in Nunavik, which looks at the relationship between vegetation height and distribution and the volume of water capable of infiltrating into the ground and ultimately reaching the water table, or a process we call groundwater recharge. As many of you have likely heard in other Sentinel North presentations, the climate in the north is warming approximately twice as fast as the rest of the planet as a result of the phenomenon known as polar amplification. This climate warming is contributing to permafrost thaw as well as changing precipitation patterns, which together promote a shift from a surface water dominated hydrologic regime to a groundwater dominated one in many northern catchments. This has implications for the long-term water security of many northern communities, as surface water is often a primary source of drinking water. Groundwater is usually a better option than surface water for purposes of water resources development, as it typically requires little treatment and has a lower chance of becoming contaminated. Furthermore, the shift from a surface water dominated system may result in unpredictable changes in water quality and quantity in streams and lakes. As such, the central goal of our research is to provide insight into what factors control the availability of groundwater in northern catchments, and how is this availability likely to be altered by climate change. Our current focus examines how changes to the landscape, specifically the expansion of tree and shrub populations, otherwise known as Arctic greening, could influence groundwater recharge. To address this question, we instrumented a field site within the Tasiapik Valley near the village of Umiujaq on the coast of Hudson Bay in Nunavik, Quebec, Canada, shown here. The approximate location of our study site is shown with the other gold star on the satellite map in the lower right, here. Previous work conducted by other research groups has shown that the different kinds of land cover present in the Tasiapik Valley illustrate the shift from an immature landscape characterized primarily by tundra covered by lichens and low shrubs to a more mature landscape populated by taller, woodier land cover. This previous research also states that the shift from immature to mature landscape takes approximately 90 years to occur. Thus, to determine how groundwater recharge could change over this period, we instrumented 4 locations that possess the characteristic landscape types as detailed in one of these studies by Peltier et al. 2018. These sites are lichens, low shrubs, medium shrubs, and trees. Data gathered at these locations include continuous water levels as well as temperature and water content measurements taken from instruments located at depths ranging from 10 centimeters to 4 meters. With these data, we were able to use an analytical technique called the water table fluctuation method to compute values of recharge under each of these different kinds of land cover. The results indicate that as the landscape matures, the amount of groundwater recharge increases, with lichens receiving the smallest amount of recharge over the period of study, trees receiving the greatest amount, and shrubs lying in the middle. Furthermore, by comparing the frost depths across these 4 sites, we found that as land cover grows taller, the depth of freezing in winter becomes shallower. These findings led us to hypothesize that the increase in groundwater recharge we are observing is a result of greater amounts of snow accumulating beneath this taller, sturdier land cover, an occurrence that has been reported in other studies conducted in the valley. This thicker snowpack then melts more slowly in the spring, preventing the soil from saturating and subsequently generating large amounts of surface runoff. As a result, more meltwater is capable of infiltrating into the soil as opposed to flowing over the land surface to streams or lakes. By integrating our results into the theory put forth in Peltier et al., we were able to create a new model to describe how changing land cover can influence groundwater recharge within the Tasiapik Valley. To test the hypothesis that the increased recharge is a result of greater snow thickness, we conducted a series of computer simulations which consider simplified, small-scale versions of our field site. The computer code we are using is the Simultaneous Heat and Water Model, or SHAW, which allows us to simulate surface water infiltration, groundwater flow, heat flow, freeze-thaw processes, and plant growth. By only adjusting the vegetation type, as well as the amount of snow that accumulates in a given simulation, we were able to obtain results that are a good match to what we observe in the field, as seen on the right. While the match is not perfect, for example, some of the peaks in the shrub figure on the lower right are overestimated by the computer simulation, it does suggest that a large component of the difference in recharge volume that we are seeing at the different sites is a result of greater snow thickness. We are nearly finished running all of these simulations, and we hope to have a manuscript presenting these results ready by the end of April. In conclusion, we found that the volume of groundwater recharge observed in the field appears to be strongly influenced by snow thickness, with greater snow thicknesses resulting in greater volumes of groundwater recharge. We also found that the relationship between vegetation height and recharge volume fell into three categories primarily based on height, as there was not a substantial difference in recharge volume computed for the two shrub sites. Our continuing work seeks to understand how this relationship influences the availability of groundwater within the valley and how potential future changes to the landscape or climate could alter this availability. In order to provide the best possible guidance on sustainable groundwater resource development, we first need to understand where the groundwater is and how much of it we can utilize without harming the local ecosystem. As such, the next steps for this work are to explore the effects of changing vegetation and climate conditions at larger scales, such as the scale of the entire Tasiapik catchment, for instance, with an eye towards being able to work with the local community in Umiujaq to secure their water supply for years to come.